Welcome. This is Lunar Living, a weekly conversation of lived astrology and cyclical wisdom that expands our connection with ourselves, each other, and all of life. Wherever you are, let's take a deep breath together and arrive just as we are. We're not here to predict life. We're learning how to grow in rhythm with it.
And each week we'll explore the current astrology, the wisdom of the moon, and the energetic invitations unfolding around us, translating the language of the cosmos into practical guidance that you can actually live. And together we will help you understand not only what is happening in the sky, but why it matters, how it might be showing up in your relationships, your emotions, your body, and your everyday life.
We'll share our own experience and learn how to embody the wisdom moving through us now, because transformation doesn't happen just through information. It requires our engagement. I'm Colleen Akasa, founder of 𝙧𝙤𝙤𝙦 and Lunar Living. For decades, I've explored what it means to live in rhythm with my own body, with the moon, with nature, and with others. I weave cyclical wisdom and embodied practices with relational awareness so we can remember our wholeness and expand our capacity for meaningful connection.
And I'm Elaine Prinsloo, astrologer healer and intuitive coach. And I love translating the wisdom of astrology into grounded, practical insights that help people navigate life with greater clarity, trust, and self-awareness. And together we will explore the gifts, the challenges, and the invitations held with each week's cosmic landscape, making the heavens feel personal, accessible, and deeply supportive. We're so grateful that you're here.
Welcome to Lunar Living. Welcome everyone to the week of August 16th through the 23rd. We are in the middle of the Eclipse Portal space between the new moon eclipse that happened on August 12th and the full moon eclipse that's coming in, I forgot the day, on the 28th. Yes. I'm here with Elaine. We're talking about, let's see, the moon's going to be moving through, we're starting in Libra and we're quickly moving into Scorpio with the moon, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. We've got a few other aspects coming in that Elaine is going to share with us so we can drop into those a little bit more deeply and see what it means for us day to day, how we can work with the energy at hand. Thank you, Elaine. So Mondays seems like a quieter day with the moon starting in Libra and moving into Scorpio. We've still got the sun in Leo. What do you feel? Is it a quieter day in other aspects?
Um, Well, I don't know if I would call it a quieter day, but I think it's a good day for emotional regulation as well as integration. I think with the Sunday Venus and Moon energy of Sunday that we were invited into last week, right? We spoke about the energy on Sunday, that the moon is going to be conjunct Venus in Libra, that would be the 16th. That energy will help us, that we can use this peaceful, nurturing, loving, supportive energy from Sunday and pull that into Monday as a way to help us recalibrate and prepare ourselves for the next cycle, the next season, the next 18 months with regards to the North Node and the South Node, shifting signs, our destiny changes, our energy changes, our karmic direction changes. So I think it will help us on Monday to be more in a space of reflection and simply noticing and really just kind of calling in more peace for ourselves before, you know, everything else kind of happens and before we really get into all of the other energy. So that's what I
That's
kind of feel
beautiful.
Monday.
And the moon is waxing this week. So during the time that the moon is still in Libra, it feels like there's a really great opportunity to kind of sit with that and seek the balance. As the moon moves into Scorpio, we may naturally start to dive a little bit deeper and resurrect some things that we may have pushed down previously. So taking that opportunity Monday,
Mm-hmm.
um, Moon Day, Monday is associated with the moon as well. So it's a really great time to sit and
Yeah. And it's a bit contraindicative because
integrate.
obviously, you know, Mondays are generally our busiest days, especially if we're still working within normal corporate life. You know, we have a job. Mondays are like, oh, it's the new day, it's a new beginning. We got to run, we got to push, we got to like, you know, give it full steam ahead. Like Monday, like all the meetings are happening on a Monday and all the financials and the planning and and it's like so in like literally contradiction to the actual energy of Monday, which is like more of a call to go in, to slow down, because Sunday is actually the day of like outward expression and like doing more, but we've reversed that, you know.
Yeah, our current calendar and modern schedule is kind of reversed to the energies that are natural to us.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you anybody that has the capacity or potential to soften your Mondays can be very, very useful for planning the trajectory of your week,
Exactly.
not in the tiny details and the superimposing meetings, but feeling into those, what's really present. And like we were coming from the eclipse, the message there was what is still alive and leaning into what's alive, not what feels comfortable or what I should do or what the culture tells me to do or family or my friends tell me to do. What feels alive in my life and leaning into that. So we can especially use this Monday to really connect with that aliveness and make it a point during the week to give more life to those alive points and to lessen our connection with the things in our lives that are just not alive like they used to be.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So the aspect that I want to particularly talk about for Monday is that on Monday we have a trine, like a harmonious aspect between the moon that will be at 29 degrees of Libra, the anaretic degree. She's at the final end, you know, she's done the work. And now it's about learning the final lesson. It's like you can think of like the last part of the hero's journey before the return. And then obviously the South Node and the North Node are sitting at 0 degrees of Pisces and Virgo. And on Tuesday, they're going to shift signs. And so with this last 0 degree, 29 degree aspect happening between the nodes of fate, our destiny, our karma, our future, our past, and the moon, which is the subconscious, which happens to rule our past lives and past experiences and emotions and unconscious and subconscious. We're at this kind of final degree, final goodbye, this threshold moment where for the last year and a half, the South Node in Virgo, you know, has really been asking us to release perfectionism and control and overthinking and analysis and um, like really harsh critique, inner critique as well. And then
I'm
the
laughing
North,
because my Capricorn moon is like, no, I want to control that. Go ahead.
yeah.
I feel
So
that for sure.
yeah, and the North Node has been asking us in Pisces to call in more surrender, more trust, more flow, um, learning to listen more to our intuition and to allow ourselves to simply believe and have faith, right? In the unseen, in the unknown, in our capacity, even if we can't see that capacity necessarily physically, right? So this is kind of what we've been feeling into and playing into within these nodes, this karmic line, this sort of shift that's been happening. And so on Monday, um, it's a really good day to kind of just sit with, reflect upon, notice, and just really look at what, like the last year, really, of asking yourself, where did I comfortably surrender? What was easy for me to surrender into, and where did I try and force control? So where was I feeling more comfortable in, like, just trusting the flow, going with the flow? Where did I learn? Was it in relationship? Was it within myself? Was it within my job? Was it with my kids? Was it my responsibilities? Like, what place within me, in my life, in my, reality, was I more comfortable surrendering control and giving up, like, trying to like have every single little thing so perfect and in place, and like so much so rigid and so stuck, like that it was impossible, for me to actually just surrender and trust and have faith. So sitting with that question on Monday, and then also, I would also, another question that I would invite people in, like people to feel into on Monday, is maybe where was, like, how do I phrase this? Can you tell the difference between what is intuition and what is control or anxiety disguised as analysis? So that would be a really good place to also feel into. So it's like, where was I, calling it intuition, but it was actually just me just like, kind of like disguising my anxiety or my nervousness or my need to control as something else. So noticing the difference there.
And how do we notice the difference? Mate, what's coming through for me is like intuition is never laced with fear or judgment.
Yeah.
I don't know if something else comes through for you, but I just wanted to drop that in real quickly.
Yeah. I also think that intuition, there is a difference between fear and anxiety and tension, and then there is a difference between your intuition telling you to do something that makes you feel scared because it's so far out your comfort zone. So noticing these places, right? And noticing where you're still within your inner world, right? Because this is the moon, it's Libra, it's balance, right? It's peace, accommodating other people, trying to keep peace, trying to keep harmony at the expense of your own truth. Like, these are all themes that I really invite you to feel into, especially with regards to controlling, analyzing, overthinking, over rationalizing. These are areas and things
Right.
to notice within yourself where
So,
where it's been hard for you to let go, hard for you to surrender, hard for you to trust, hard for you to have faith. And then those things are the things that you really want to work on moving forward during this eclipse period. So it's less about, doing something new or planting these new seeds or taking on this new identity, but it's maybe more of a day to close chapters, um, and letting go of, like, these habits that we may have developed over time where we just tend to keep the peace, or we accommodate other people, or we're trying to just create um, peace within an environment that doesn't necessarily require our energy or our effort or our attention. It's not our job, right, to control the environment. So that's the question. It's like, where am I trying to control? Where am I still, after a year and a half of being asked to let go and have faith and trust and surrender? Where am I still trying to navigate everything and control everything and mitigate everything and micromanage everyone? Because that's the area of life that you need to work on moving forward with the new eclipse nodes and shifts and changes that are happening. So it's a good
absolutely.
day
There's
for closure and reflection, if,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. So closing the chapter on that and going, I choose differently this moving forward. So yeah.
Our brains can be tricky, but our bodies always know. In intuition, even if we're encouraged to do something that is scary for us will still feel open. And the ego and the criticism will feel very restrictive in our bodies. So if we're kind of flip-flopping back and forth mentally and not sure what's what in our brains, we can check in with our body.
Yeah.
Is this what's coming through feeling restrictive? Is it creating tension in my body? Does it feel grounded and open? That's, or just notice what your yes and what your no feels like. Your intuition will feel like your yes, and your ego will feel like a no
Yeah.
in your body.
Yeah. And I've also noticed with me in particular, if I'm listening to my intuition, I always have resistance. Like 90% of the time, I'm resistant because my ego is saying, we don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That doesn't like that. That's not what I normally would do. That doesn't feel like, something that I'm interested in putting myself out there. But then this persistent gnosis, this persistent message, this persistent feeling that keeps coming through again and again, and it doesn't leave you alone. That's that key intuition. That this is how I know my intuition is talking to me, because it's like it's a repeating, and it doesn't always feel good. It doesn't, it's sometimes scary. It's sometimes like, just like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I feel that. I remember when I was getting the downloads to create the Lunar Living app, which will be re-released pretty soon. But it was like it would not leave me alone until I started taking action on the thing. And
Yeah,
it's not like this ego dream, I want to be this big thing and having big shiny visuals of myself. It's how I can serve, how I can bring something through my experience to help other people land it quicker or without so much struggle.
exactly. And that's the beautiful gift that you have received and taken from Virgo. Virgo is service. It's like, how can I really use myself as service to support my community? So that's good and beautiful. Okay, are we ready to move on to Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay. So Tuesday, that is when the North Node and the South Node officially move into Leo. So the North and the South Node are going to be in Aquarius and Leo for the next 18 months. This is a new door, a new opportunity, a new energy. This is a new evolutionary axis. This is a new chapter. This is a new destiny path. This is a new collective growth that we are being invited into. So whenever the nodes change signs, we want to pay attention because it is our growth. It's like the North Node is what we're moving into. It's like the compass, the dial is shifting, the compass is shifting, the direction is shifting. And so we're sailing into a new part of the world, into a new part of ourselves, into a new energy, a new destiny, a new awakening, both individually and collectively. And whilst we're on this journey to meet these new aspects of self, we're also being met with the South Node, which is the opposition, right? And so that is also calling us into, where have we already walked this experience? Where have we already, lived this energy, this experience, this story, so that we can actually move towards the new path, right? The dharma versus the karma, right? The future versus the past. And so when we have this axis, if you will, of the South and the North Node, now, like Colina was saying, the energy moves out from, who am I trying to be? What am I trying to control? How am I opening up to faith and trust and intuition? But it's shifting because now it's about personal expression and identity and recognition and the heart, and sort of maybe asking yourself, like, what am I here to actually contribute? Like, how am I wanting to be of service? How am I wanting to serve and help and expand and grow the collective, my life? You know, Leo is our personal expression, right? It's like our creativity, our heart, our desire to shine, to be seen, to be felt, to be loved, to be accepted. And then Aquarius is more of a wider lens where it's like our community and the collective intelligence and humanity and innovation and networks and our contribution to something larger than ourselves. It's not just like the South Node will be in Leo. And so it's like, can I stop only serving myself, but can I actually lean into the North Node and start planning for my future? So as a human, as a being, what am I leaving behind for future generations? And this is that kind of space that we're in with these new eclipses, right? This is kind of what we're being called into. So the shadow of Leo obviously is that I need to be seen and I need to be special and I need to be chosen and I need to be recognized and I I'm gonna do everything for myself and I have to be deserving and I have to prove that I'm worthy and I want to be seen and I want to be, and I'm doing it all for clout and I'm doing it for attention because, there's some kind of part inside of me that's just hollow and void and never received love or attention or affection, and that's this part of me that's just screaming to be seen, and I will do whatever it takes to make that happen. So that's one aspect of the shadow, right? The Aquarius shadow is that I don't need anybody. I've got this. I'm above this. I don't belong to anything. I don't associate as anything. I don't identify as anything. I'm marrying Siri and making babies with fucking Elon Musk, right? And it's like I'm so completely collapsed in the artificial that I have forgotten my heart and my humanity. So this eclipse period that we're in and the fact that we're shifting out of this Pisces, Virgo, spiritual, earth, service, self, control, surrender, we're moving, we've already kind of gone through this, we've experienced this, we've gained the wisdom, the insights, the intuition, the lessons, the manifestations, we've seen it, we've built from there. Now it's a completely new path that's opening up. It's a reorientation. So the next chapter is asking us, okay, we need to examine, that's the word, we need to examine where we have made our own personal identity, our ego, the center of our story, and where we're actually ready to become part of something bigger, but at the same time, learning the balance, that fine, intricate balance between not abandoning yourself, right? Not just living for ego, living from heart-centered consciousness, but also being and governing yourself whilst doing it in a way that serves the bigger picture. And so Tuesday is it's a day where you get to feel into, what is it that I'm actually wanting to do here? What do I want to leave behind? If I could leave behind some kind of an imprint, it doesn't have to be a business, it doesn't have to be a global organization, it doesn't have to be this legacy that's going to withstand the test of time, but it's like if I could leave an energetic imprint, like a stamp on someone's heart, what do I want to leave behind? What is the legacy that my soul, my heart, my choice is leaving behind for the future generations and for the people, for humanity, the earth as a whole? So it's a big question, but it's a question worth exploring on Tuesday.
What drops in for me on Tuesday? Are you hearing an echo? Okay. The new lunar nodes say, now I've lost it. I was holding it for so long. What service to humanity can I co-create that makes me feel more of my radiant, authentic self?
Yeah. That's beautiful.
That's the thing that drops in. So simple. If you are getting spun out in your head, bring it back to that one question and then come back to your body. And the other thing that's dropping in with this too, if it feels like it's too up in your head, you could journal. There's this, there's that, there's all these new questions. Come back to this. What service to humanity can I co-create in community that makes me feel like a more radiant expression of my full self? And then take a deep breath, drop into your heart with your breath, and then come into your body and just let whatever comes flow through, and then expand on that thing. Focus on what wants to expand, and then let what wants to die just less and less of that. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful.
And the moon is in Scorpio on Tuesday, so
you can go deep.
We could take it really deep. We can really journal it out. We can get into all the details, and then we can drop it into that one embodied question.
Yeah. And if you don't know how to do any of this stuff, just surrender.
Yeah. The universe is working with you already.
Exactly. Just surrender. You know, tell your ego and all of the parts of you that's like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Like, we've got this. I'm taken care of. I'm protected. I'm safe. I can trust. I can lean back, and I can fall back into the arms of my soul, the universe, whatever it is, right? I can surrender. Because again,
I just
remember
had a vision of one of those trust falls
exactly
into your own hands.
Precisely. That's exactly it. And we're still in that year of the fire horse. We're still moving forward. There is no slowing this down. And now with the nodes of fate's also changing. Yeah, there's more technology. Yes, there's faster communication. Yes, AI is a thing. Yes, transhumanism is a thing. Yes, like the external, like electronic, you know, like world, it's building, and it's not going to slow down whether you want to admit it or whether you're ready for it or not. Like, you know, so
know your boundaries. Stay human.
Exactly. It's about choosing how you want to work with it, choosing how you want to respond to it, choosing how you want to engage with it, and also understanding that, you know, maybe it's time to stop serving only yourself by your base needs. Like, oh, I want money, I want safety, I want a house, I want the car, I want this, I want that. Like, it's like, no, maybe, just maybe I can have that, but I also don't just have to make it serve me. I can also help serve the collective, others, my friends, my community, you know.
And I
Aquarius,
don't leave myself out of the service.
yeah, exactly. Aquarius is about, you know, gains and dreams and hopes and aspirations and humanitarian efforts. And so we'll see more of that coming online, but it is also technology and, you know, artificial stuff and all these different things. But it's about choosing what you want to release during this eclipse. And so I'm just going to reference again that if you haven't watched the eclipse video, go back to that. It's not just the 12th, it's the themes that, you know, we're awakening on the 12th of, where are we? August. Sorry, it's like the 12th of August. Those themes that we spoke about in that video, that is still super relevant and prevalent with these nodes of fate shifting into that space. So look at that video, go back to that. I'll link it again in the description. You can rewatch it. This is that invitation for Tuesday. And remember that this is an 18-month cycle. So pay very close attention on Tuesday to what are the things that are shifting and happening and what are you feeling. So like if you can, if you're not a journaler or if you're somebody that's got journal trauma, hands up if you've got journal trauma. You know, like if you're not a journal person, that's fine. But whatever you do on Tuesday, make sure that you note down your sensations, your feelings, the themes that are going on, the places, the systems, everything. Just like be super present to everything that's going on, because that's going to show you exactly what's being eclipsed out and what your experiences are going to potentially be for the next year and a half. It's starting.
And that energy is going to move into Wednesday too. It's not just a Tuesday energy, but that's when it's going to be the most potent.
Yeah.
So if you're busy Tuesday and you need to work on this Wednesday,
Yeah.
awesome, totally cool.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about Wednesday. So the aspect that I want to mention on Wednesday is that the moon is in Scorpio and it's going to square the sun in Leo, right? So there's tension between what we are actually feeling underneath inside and what we're showing externally. Leo, as we know, wants expression. Scorpio wants truth and depth and connection. But Scorpio doesn't care whether the truth is comfortable. Like Scorpios are some of the most straightforward, blunt, like direct people that I've met in my, like, there is no filter. Hashtag no filter, with Scorpios. So with that going on and everything that's happening in this eclipse period and, over the last couple of the week and like everything that's just been going on, it can expose a lot of stuff that you've just been sitting on and chewing on and keeping quiet about, a lot of like old toxic emotions, suppressed words, things that can just kind of come up to be spoken, to be shared, to be explained, and um, to be dealt with. Really, that's the biggest thing. It's like just allowing so essentially what you're feeling and what you're showing might not necessarily be the same thing. And so you're actually being asked to express your truth on that day rather than, festering, letting it fester. It's not a good day to fester, because we have Venus in Libra in a sextile to Jupiter in Leo. So this is like this beautiful energy. And then we also have the other side of it, right? Which is like, again, it's there can be tension between, what we're feeling and what we're wanting to show. And the moon in Scorpio is like the subconscious is going into the psyche, it's going into the shadow, it's going into the depth, it's going into the underworld. And then the sun is in Leo and like all boastful and like shiny and like, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm pretending, I'm pretending, I'm pretending, I'm fine. But meanwhile, I'm dying inside. And so like that kind of stuff might come up on Wednesday. And so the invitation is to rather lean into this Venus sextile Jupiter energy because connection is available, perspective is available, expansion is available, heart opening is available. We can actually have and receive love and support and grace and expansion through heart-centered conversations. And if we can hold ourselves in love and compassion and grace and in that sort of space of it's okay for me to share what I need to share, but then just keeping that little scorpion sting in check, that could be it could be a really good day to allow yourself to just share what needs to be shared, but doing it through grace and love and compassion, and rather doing it through a sense of I'm gonna speak from the heart, and if it's got anything to do with bile or bitterness or resentment or rage, or like if my words are dripping venom, then maybe not the best day to have those conversations, or take those choices or make those decisions or lean into those things that you want to do, but rather just like, no, I can hold myself in love, I can be grace, I can be, I can expand into my capacity to hold myself even whilst my inner world and my external world are having a hard time working together. I'm not going to turn it into a battle. So, can I tell my truth without letting it, escalate into an argument or into a battle? So just noticing this, that would be a good theme on Wednesday to just keep in mind. So, yeah.
It seems like if there's any lack of clarity about what the lunar node switch means on Tuesday, Wednesday is there to help us get much more clear and to take it the next step further. If we're feeling, like Eleni said, toxic venom, wants to come out, maybe not the best time to suppress it, but honor your own experience. Thursday's first quarter moon in Sagittarius will become a better expression time, potentially for that. But it feels like Wednesday is definitely helping us clarify even more of what Tuesday's more subtle. There's a big shift, but it may not totally land. And
Yeah.
Wednesday will help it land some more. And then Thursday will help it land even further and then express a little bit more as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you can have these experiences and these emotions and these things, but you don't always need to act on it immediately, right? You can just like be the scorpion that just goes back under the rock for a minute. You know,
Yeah.
don't come out and sting everything and like poison everything because your ego is bruised or wounded, or you're not feeling like people are seeing you or hearing you or respecting you or validating you, or all of these different things. Like rather just feel it,
And all of
receive
that may
it,
be true
and call it
to
in.
yourself. Yeah. But
Yeah,
we can't communicate clearly and compassionately when we're triggered.
yeah, exactly.
And so if we try to, we would probably wish we said something a little bit differently or with a different tone, and not saying it, but giving yourself a little space to land it
Mm.
before you communicate what your view is, what your needs are more
Yeah,
clearly.
and it's a good
And
day
that
also
is
to.
trying to get people to take the emotional journey with you doesn't always work. The emotional journey is for us and maybe a close friend or a mentor, and then we come back to the situation more fully ourselves to communicate the thing.
Yeah,
So I've just when we try to drag the person that's affected or affecting us or in the situation through the emotional journey that we're having, then it can create more muddiness and more conflict.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it can clarify if we land it and then communicate it.
Yeah, and it's a really good day to actually go into that psyche, into the shadow, and meet these parts of you, like, and notice, like, where am I playing a pretend? Like, Leo is playing pretend, right? Like, it's the actor on the stage as well. And then Scorpio is like, that's not like, so noticing where the inner world doesn't match the outer world within yourself, and where are you still playing pretend, and where are you still trying to like, be the funny guy, be the clown. Meanwhile, you're like super sad, and like where are you still performing? Um, and then just
Yeah.
noticing these things. That's also a good day to then bring in that Venusian Jupiter. Like, okay, I can bring in the love, I can bring in the balance, I can bring in the peace, I can bring in the grace, I can bring in like I can purify all of the shit through my heart and the fire of my
Yeah.
soul. So yeah.
And with that Scorpio energy, I'm not using it to sting others or sting myself either.
Yeah. Mm, okay. Where are we? Thursday.
Thursday, first
Yeah.
quarter moon in Sagittarius.
Yeah. So Thursday's a wild day. We've got a great like uh I'm gonna keep saying crossroads. Well, it technically is a crossroads. It's like a grand cross, if you will. So we have the sun conjunct the sun conjunct the south node in a square to Uranus, in a square to the north node, in a square to the moon. So this is the pressure point. Thursday is the pressure point. The sun, the ego, the soul, the expression has been sitting next to the south node the entire week, like basically since the eclipse, right? And so it's like, okay, the ego, that kind of like, all the roles that we play, the identities that we have, all of these different things are now coming, like, are being um, challenged by the moon, the inner world, like the true desires, and also the limitations that we impose upon ourselves. And then Uranus saying, no, we're going to break free. We're going to liberate that. We're going to shift that. We're not going to play in that role. We're not going to keep playing that. I'm sick and tired of pretending. And then the North Node also is in opposition to the Sun, like saying, are you willing to step into your destiny? Right. So things at this point, like a Thursday can really be like the pressure point, like the pressure cooker, where everything just goes because you can feel very restless and unpredictable and emotional. And it's not necessarily bad, but it's just because things need to disrupt. The system needs to be disrupted for the old to fall away, for the roles and the masks and the things to fall away. Anything that is untrue, anything that is no longer in alignment. Anything that is no longer you has to fall away. And so you may feel internally this really big pressure to just fuck shit up and say, no more, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to play this role for you anymore. I'm not going to pretend anymore. I'm not going to, just put on the happy smiley face, whilst I'm busy dying inside and like cooking on the inside. But, on the outside, I'm like this pristine little thing sitting there all quiet and like, like, no. So this is shifting, this is changing, this is like, because, the nodes are redirecting and shifting and changing the destiny, the purpose, the karma, the story. The moon is making it super personal. The sun is saying, are you ready to move forward? Uranus is saying, let's break shit up. Let's, change it up. Okay. That's when you start to realize, oh yeah, I'm not the same person that I was before. I don't want to keep playing these roles and I don't want to keep having to be this person anymore. And so on Thursday, whatever is disrupted is showing me something that I have been carrying for too long. And now I'm ready to see it for what it is, because I may not have been able to see it before. So am I willing to update my reality? Am I willing to feel the uncomfortable directions that I'm being pushed into, so that I can actually let go and, give my reality a bit of a boost and upgrade and update, new software, new codes, new beliefs, new roles, new identities, new everything. But with that, obviously, there, is like an internal pressure, and, just being mindful that it's both and we will each have our own super unique experience. And I honestly think that Thursday is the kind of day where you just want to let live and what is it? Let go and let God, or let live and let, like, out of something to that extent, where you're like, you don't want to regulate your nervous system on that day. You don't want to soften. You don't want to slow down. You don't want to breathe. You want to be in the energy. You want to be at the breaking point. You want to be at that pressure point, because it needs to go. It needs to erupt. It needs to release, so that you can have that release move through you. And then new life can be born, new experiences can be born. And yes, of course, it's scary. Think of a volcano, all that pressure, and then all of a sudden, boom, and shit's going everywhere, and people are like, oh my God. But, and then eventually things kind of slow down, and there's new life, and there's new islands. And
think about how nourished the surrounding land can be after the volcano eruption, and what new growth it can bring. Also, Thursday, first quarter moon, August 20th, midway point in the eclipse conduit. It is a huge reckoning kind of a day. And the moon is in Sagittarius. So anything that's not, Sagittarius is the only mystical creature in the whole zodiac. So anything that's not aligned with that real trajectory has got to burn away. And nothing that is eternal in you can burn. It doesn't mean it's not a wild card to go be an asshole.
No.
But it is, yes. Like, let go and let God, consciously allow the stuff to burn that's not for you anymore. Maybe there's a little ritual you can do with that.
Maybe the ritual is just bawling your eyes out on the bathroom floor, like, that's okay too. Like, sometimes we just need to have the releases, and it can be ugly, and it can be, weird, and it can be gross, and it can be.
We're not going to get into the science of crying, but it's an amazing thing. And science has proven that the chemicals in your tears actually are releasing the things in your body. Like, happy tears have different chemicals than sad tears. So let your tears flow if you have them. And, I recently had an opportunity to really purge a lot of tears, and had space where somebody held me in that space. Whether you have a person there or your support is non-physical, You are always supported when you have that. So even if you feel like you're alone on your bathroom floor, crying your eyes out, know that you're surrounded by
Yeah.
love and by beings that are love you and are here to support you. So even if you experience that, know also that it is for your highest good, and that shit that you could not purge before is purging for you. So we
Exactly.
can also be grateful for the really big, powerful eruptions that happen from inside of us, and allow our inner world to be renourished finally by releasing those hard stone like blocks inside of us. And,
Yeah.
it may feel crazy, and it's okay to experience those big moments.
Hmm.
So if it happens, honor it. If it doesn't happen, nothing's wrong with you either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So Friday, we've got Saturn opposite Venus. So on the one hand, if you've been having this purging crazy Thursday, like everything's, it's reached the culmination point, your life's exploding, you're exploding, you can't keep wearing the masks anymore, you're surrendering, you're saying, I don't want this anymore, I'm changing shit up, I'm shifting, I can't do this anymore, I'm leaving the relationship, I'm saying goodbye to this habit, I'm not doing this anymore. Remember that Saturn in its highest expression is the sacred divine father archetype. And so when that's in opposition to Venus as well, like he's asking you, can I hold you? Can I love you? Will you let me hold you? Will you let me love you? Will you let me support you? So that is one way that, that sacred we can work with on Friday. We can call on that sacred father archetype to bring in that love and hold us in that space. So that's one
That's
way.
beautiful.
Um, but with any Saturnian thing, it can also go the other way. And when Saturn is in opposition to Venus, it could also be, a bit of a restructuring around what is the reality, you know, of
The reality of your self-value. That's what struck
yeah,
me.
your relationships, your money, your self-worth, your agreements, your contracts, your partnerships, business partnerships. These things can all start to be put under the scrutiny of Saturn, where it's like, does this feel fair? Is it valuable? Is it sustainable? You know, am I still willing to commit to this partnership and this story around money and self-worth and relationship and all of these different kinds of themes. And so it can also very much be a case of, okay, Saturn is sitting in Aries, which is the self, and then Venus is in Libra, which is the other, and these two are again in opposition. And so it's like, all right, do I need to build healthier boundaries? Do I need to be more disciplined? Do I need to be more conscious and devotional and slow down? Or the part of me that is in Libra, which is balance and fairness and equality and other, maybe I've been too hard. Maybe I've only, maybe it's been too much about me, my, I, and now I'm being challenged to soften and to actually open up more. So asking like, is this fair? Am I being fair? Am I is there balance in this relationship? Maybe I need to turn the mirror and look at myself and the roles that I play in this story, in my life, in my current reality. It's very easy for us to blame other people. Oops, sorry. It's very easy for us to blame other people for our problems, right? Oh no, it's my mother's fault that I'm this way. It's my father's fault that I'm this way. Like this happened to me, so therefore I am that way. So it's very easy for us to look at all these external things and to kind of say, oh well, because of this experience now I'm that way. And so it's like you can find a lot of confirmation biases that can just affirm your stories so often and so much. But it's really hard sometimes to kind of like look at your own pattern or your own presence within the pattern. So it's like, what is my role in all of this? How am I perpetuating this? How am I feeding into this? How am I giving life to this story, this relationship, this experience? And can I take accountability for my role in this as well? So on Friday, with this opposition, it's asking us to stop confusing peace with harmony. Sometimes it requires honest boundaries. Sometimes we need to stop compromising. Sometimes we need to get real and we need to get honest and we need to really look at things and go, okay, is this sustainable? Is this working? Am I really wanting to continue to play in this like, do I really want to be committed to this and keep perpetuating the same stories? And then can I look at myself and go, what is my like, how, what is my presence in the pattern? Like, what am I living here? Like, how much of this story is me just doing the same thing because of old stories and comfort? So that's a thing on Friday. Anything you want to bring in here?
Just that with the moon still in Sagittarius, there can be the natural desire to be looking out in the far future or at other people. So conscious self-reflection. Yeah. We may have to call that in because it may not feel natural. So make sure that we're bringing it back to self, not passing the buck. And noticing if we have a habit of projection first, it's the other person first. Understand it before you speak it. Self-evaluation, understanding your pluses and minuses in that situation, what you've added or taken away, and what you need out of it. So Saturday, are we cool with Friday? Saturday, the moon is still in Sagittarius for almost all of the day. So, we can be very clear of what the trajectory is or focused on that, but I'm still consciously coming back in. What do we have for aspects on Saturday again?
So Saturday, we actually have an interesting day. So Lilith, the dark moon, Lilith is conjunct the moon, forming a T-square with the north and the south node. So this one is, Saturday is the day that we really need to pay close attention to. Because when we have the dark moon, so it's a point, again, it's like a node, it's like this, the south and the north nodes. These are points, these are not planets or stars necessarily, or asteroids even, they're just like these particular points. And it is all these points. So it's like we've got, remember that these points are like the south node and the north node and Lilith are basically, the moon is conjunct and forming aspects with these astronomical mathematical points, right? Orbital points. So a lot of, and the fact that it's forming a T-square with the nodes is, it's a day that we are being challenged, that the emotional body can become really sensitive to themes around rejection, shame, sexuality, anger, autonomy, parts of ourselves that we have learned that were, too much. Lilith in her myth, if you will, is this a woman that basically refused to submit to Adam, right? In a nutshell. And there's a lot more there, but there's distortion in Lilith as well. And that's something that, if we're not careful, we can have a lot of distorted, angry, rage-filled energy come up for us that day, that we basically just projectile vomit onto everything and everyone else around us, especially, like masculine energy or people that may have been, suppressing us in some kind of a way. It can be racial, it can be cultural, it can be, political, it can also be masculine versus feminine. So these areas may be challenging and there can be distortion. So be careful, because you want to, again, bring it in and you want to sit with it, and you want to ask yourself the deeper lesson, the deeper question on that day is, what happens when I stop abandoning myself in order to belong? Because remember that we're working with the nodes, and we spoke about this, like the masks that we wear, right? The roles that we play. So can I reclaim my power without needing to punish or dominate or vilify or reject others? You know, it's not a case of, oh, I don't need anybody, I can do this myself. Like, I'm my own free woman, like, don't tell me what to do, like, fuck the patriarchy, like all of the rage
Be
and stuff.
careful of the all men are types of phrases,
Exactly.
or,
It's
replace
exactly
the word men with anything else that, is present for you.
yeah, 100%, so um it's just reminding yourself that I can belong without betraying myself. Like, I can be present to that. Not everybody that challenges me or disagrees with me is trying to control me. Not everybody that has a different opinion or a different, context to something is, trying to belittle me or berate me. They just have an opinion, and that doesn't necessarily mean that that opinion is like, meant to be like a stab
Mm.
at me as well. So
I
it's
love that.
important. Yeah, it's
Go ahead,
important
finish, and then
to
I'll say.
just notice, where we've confused self-protection with sovereignty, because sovereignty doesn't actually require isolation. And that's a big thing that a lot of people may be also doing, is like, oh no, but if I'm in my own bubble and if I isolate and if I do everything myself and I'm this boss bitch, like, I can make my own money, I can do my own thing, I can live my own life, and I don't need anything
And
or
I can
anyone
be
else.
lonely as hell.
Exactly. So be careful, because sovereignty doesn't require isolation. We're not in that energy anymore. We're in Aquarius, which is community and space and friendship and desire and, working together, collaboration. And then Leo is about, letting go of the roles and the performance and, like, the jester, but it's more embodying the king, right? And taking care of my community, like being a true and honest king, like King Arthur, rather than, like the dudes from Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying? So, not everyone that is in opposition is trying to control me. And I don't have to burn everything down just to feel empowered and feel like I'm in my truth and in my sovereignty. So, to sum Saturday up in a nutshell, it's a phenomenal day. It's an incredible day to reclaim fragmented parts of self that are still stuck in the distortion. So if you want to work with the energy from an archetypal perspective, Lilith can help you call back the parts of you that you feel have been wronged. And she can then purify that with, like, so she can turn the poison into medicine, into pure light. Aquarius is connected to, the bearer. Aquarius, the person that pours the water bearer. He's actually pouring Amrita into the cups of the gods that keeps them immortal. So he's pouring light, he's pouring life force, he's pouring pure, uh, like the fountain of youth, like energy, like, into the cup of the gods. And so it's like, we can use this energy to clear the distortions and to release the pain and the old and, the suffering and the trauma and all those things. And we can actually help to turn that poison, that villainous, that pain, that stuckness we can transmute it through the, Amrita, the life force, like the life bringer. We can transmute it through love and light and support, and we don't have to keep abandoning ourselves and, keep shunning ourselves and blaming everyone else and, attacking everything outside of us because we're wounded and we haven't dealt with our shit. So it's a good day to claim back your power, but again, not doing it with domination or punishment or rejection, but rather just, calling in that life force, calling in that Amrita, and turning, alchemizing, right? Like alchemy, alchemizing the energy into pure light, into pure life force, so that you can then actually embody your sovereignty, not keep betraying yourself, but also not, believing that everyone is out to get you. And noticing as well that, where am I, like, overly isolating myself to protect myself? That's also a good thing to work with. And then finally, just, self-protection. is not necessarily, like staying away from the world and like avoiding everything and everyone, doesn't necessarily mean that you're in your truth and in your power. So noticing these things on Saturday would be a good place to work from.
I find belonging naturally when I don't abandon myself, and other people's views do not eviscerate my own. I can hold space for all of it. Just feeling also absolutely in the middle of this eclipse portal. Each day is adding on. So we're in the waxing moon. So each day is building more capacity for our new identity that's emerging. So, Saturday, Lilith is coming in, and I just got this visual of like scraping out the womb space for all the debris that we just don't want to get down to. Like Scorpio helped us, Sagittarius is bringing us another energy, but Lilith, she's going to reveal it all.
Mm-hmm.
So with Scorpio, we kind of have the choice to dig. Lilith is there in her presence, so anything that we denied in our Scorpio moments, Lilith will call us to task on.
Mm-hmm.
So just noticing that building. And again, not a wild card to be an asshole. Just stating that throughout the week.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it.
We can feel really gritty and traction going on, and also notice that we're making it somebody else's fault. And there's still accountability in the sense that, oh, I chose that. Like I was physically present there as well and did not remove myself. I did not express the no or thing. So instead of beating anybody up, just take the lesson. So we can be that much more informed and well educated for the next encounter.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And then Sunday, we've also got, the sun moving into Virgo. So we get to come back down to earth a little bit. Okay. But remember that the sun has been conjunct the south node this whole week, this whole time. And it's in opposition to the north node. So Virgo is asking you, okay, what are you going to do differently moving forward? You've had all this time, you've had a year and a half of learning these lessons, right, around perfectionism and over-analysis and fixing and self-criticism and the belief that, we have to do everything right before we're allowed to move forward, and that we have to, analyze something to the point of destruction before we actually take action on anything. We don't want to trust, we don't want to have faith, we don't want to, live in this place. These are the lower expressions of Virgo, right? On the other hand, we've also been taught to connect back in with nature, with our bodies, with our health, with our gut, with our systems, with our nervous system. We're starting to learn how to be of greater service to not just ourselves, but to the collective as well. And so on Sunday, we have this beautiful opportunity to kind of just integrate just kind of everything that's been coming up for us, because the moon is forming 2 T-squares on that day when the sun moves into Virgo. The moon is in a T-square with Saturn and Mars, which is the young masculine, and then the old masculine. And then we've also got the moon in a T-square with Venus and Saturn. So it's creating conflict within us as well, where it's like, what do I feel versus what I want versus what I can do realistically? What is sustainable? What's, what sounds inspiring? What sounds impressive? What sounds, what does everybody else expect? These kinds of things can be coming up in our systems based on this whole week of what we've just gone through, right? And everything that we've spoke about. So it's like, no, well, can I actually just let that all go? Can I just ground in? Can I start to choose how I want to live? Can I integrate? Can I just sit in the nothing to do, nothing to experience, nothing to push, nothing to make, nothing to fix, nothing to, I don't have to spring clean my house. Can I just on Sunday, can I give myself permission on Sunday just to let go? I don't have to clean. I don't have to cook. I don't have to do the laundry. I don't have to pick up the kids. I don't, can I just take a break, take a pause and just trust and surrender and flow and let go of the everyday chores and tasks and responsibilities and analysis and criticism and like having to do everything and having to have my ducks in a row and, you know, needing to make sure that, you know, every single thing is so specific. Like, can I just release that for the day? Because the deeper story, you know, is that we're actually like, we're asking to make all of this transformation that we've gone through, just give it space. Give it space to land. Give it space to integrate. Give it space to move into the body. Virgo is connected to the body. So that's really honestly what I would suggest on Sunday.
Yeah, with the Virgo, with the shift into Virgo and Capricorn, it feels like we're taking all this inner transformative juice that's been going on all week, and yeah, integration. And also, how is this, like, the integration is what creates the traction for the next step. Like, the mountain goat doesn't map out all its steps up the mountain. It intuitively knows step to step to step, and it only focuses on the next step. So allowing the integration and the earthiness of Virgo to ground us enough to prepare for one next step to come through, maybe that day or Monday. Maybe Monday is the better day with the moon in Capricorn still. But it's not going to be a huge step. It's going to be in the proper direction. Because if a goat goes on the wrong step and then they can't get to the next step, then they've got to figure out how to get back, which is very tricky in their situation. So it's very, very, very like fully embodied next step. That's what the mountain goat represents.
Yeah, beautiful. So yeah, just to do a quick little summary, you know, we're moving this week, we're really moving away from all of these roles and, you know, identities and masks and, you know, jester costumes that we've played for a very long time. And we're also moving away from, you know, correcting ourselves the whole time and like needing to perfect ourselves the whole time. We're moving away from all of that towards more of an authentic and contribution. Like, what is my contribution? What am I leaving behind? What is that true essence of me wanting to be now moving forward, right? So we close this chapter on Monday, and then with the Virgo and the Pisces axis, we get to reflect and see these parts within us where we're still trying to control instead of trust. Tuesday, we are given an opportunity to change our direction, our evolutionary perspective. Tuesday, we are connected into, you know, instead of the me, how can I leave something truly beautiful? What is my vision for the future, for the collective, for you know, what are my dreams, my hopes, my gains, my aspirations, and can I actually start creating a system, a plan, you know, like, can I put my heart behind that vision that I have for my life? And then Wednesday, we're asked to allow ourselves to see our emotions, you know, through Thursday, disrupting those patterns, and then Friday, tasting these values and these relationships and these commitments, so that on Saturday, we can actually reclaim these parts that we've exiled without turning our wounds into our identity, or without turning our sadness or our rage into, you know, vilification. We're not, you know, looking to strung people up a wall kind of thing, right? And so then on Sunday, we're asked to just make it practical. So to take everything that we've gone through internally, energetically, emotionally, and just really grounding it in, slowing it down, and just allowing for simple integration to be there, giving ourselves permission that day to rest as well, and not do, you know, like all the things that we think we need to do, but simply just letting ourselves be in that space of rest. So I think maybe a final question that I would invite everybody to kind of feel into is just like noticing, you know, again, with this whole Leo Aquarius, we've spoken about this, we're in this energy, we're in the eclipse. who am I becoming, right? Who am I becoming? What is this new identity, this new role, this new version of me? And how does that version of me participate differently in the world? How do I show up differently in my new reality, in my current reality that I may not have shown up in before? So noticing the work that you still need to do around self-leadership, embodied wisdom, and it's not, becoming, it's not necessarily about becoming like less of the old you, but it's maybe more about just coming back to the real you, the true you, the you that you are today versus the you that you were 2 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago. And then just taking stock and going, okay, I can move away from needing to be validated, needing to be seen, needing to control, needing to, suppress, needing to enrage, needing to go to war, but rather I'm shifting it into, no, I'm going to choose to contribute in a way that is of real service, where I'm leading from my heart and my soul and the depths of my being, so that I can show up in a different kind of leadership, so that I can show up in a different kind of direction, so that whatever it is that I'm doing moving forward is serving my heart, my soul, my being, but also the people and the things that I deeply care about, which is ultimately my role in society and in the human collective and my friends and family and everything else. So big week ahead, lots of different energies. Unfortunately, it's not another, it's not really a like, yay, love and light kind of week. We are in the eclipse portals. When eclipses come around, shit gets fucked up, right? Like it gets hard. It's not easy. Eclipses tend to come in and like, swish something out of your life. But it can feel yucky, like it can feel like a big metamorphosis, like a big rebirth, but it is always, always, always to get you closer to your destiny, to get you closer to your purpose, to get you in alignment with what you're meant to be doing. And sometimes, the universe has to kind of slap you on the side a little bit to get you back on path, because you've not been listening to your intuition or your guidance, or you've not been trusting. And so it's like these new things are coming in specifically to help us. And so if you are ready to release, use this week to do that, so that it doesn't, become painful, and like super like gross carrying it forward. Like be in the surrender. The more you can surrender, the easier this will be. So yeah.
The caterpillar totally turns into transformational goo before it emerges as a butterfly. So if you feel like goo, cool. It's okay. That means it's working and the light is at the end of the tunnel. It doesn't stay goo for very long. Trust the process. We're coming through this. We're all in it together. The universe is working, conspiring in all of our favor, in all of humanity's favor, in all of the earth's favor. So thank you so much for being with us. Have a beautiful week, however it presents for you. Let it be beautiful in its own way. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Satnam.
Bye.
Bye.